Hey, Scano, gorgeous people, you beautiful women, Grandma Gail and Grandma Marcia, and all of you that will be joining us at some point, either right now with us or later on this evening or another time in the future. Thank you for joining us for this really amazing series that we're beginning. This is the first series of our Mayan moon ceremonies and just really understanding how we're all connected from across the world. And these beautiful women are going to share with us some teachings that, Grandma Marcia was saying that this is, these are, we're in a time right now that they're seeing these prophecies that they were, being shared for so long are coming to fruition. And so, uh, thank you for joining us and just, acknowledging this beautiful world that we live in and that we get to be, taught and we get to learn from these women who continuously show up for us, reminding us that we have responsibilities to each other, to ourselves, to the earth, to all of the living creatures that continue to support us. And I'm grateful, to have been shown the way, and I'm grateful to be on the path with you. There's sometimes I think about how grateful I am, and I wonder, what I did to deserve to be in this space with you amazing women. And so, which is why we do this with Grandmother's Voice. We share where we can, so that no one is left out, and that everyone has an opportunity to listen and be a part of change and understand that we're all one, and we're all really valuable uh, to ourselves and to our loved ones, and we have purpose here. So, Nyawa, for joining us, and it's my honor always to sit in circle with Grandma Gail Whitlow and Grandma Marcia. You're going to get to know who's also a relative of Gail. So I'm going to, just pass it over and welcome everyone for joining us on a Friday night. So, Nyawa, for being here with us. So, whoever wants to jump in first,
Okay,
share.
just grab that chair. Um, well, well, evening, everyone. We're just settling in. Renee has just arrived, so we're going to be pulling up a chair and getting it oriented in a good way. So, the concept behind what we want to do tonight is we want to bring together a really interesting dynamic. So, the dynamics that we're talking about is we're talking about the cycle of ceremonies. As the Haudenosaunee people, we have what we call a cycle of ceremonies, and where we are in that cycle. We want to do this monthly. We also want to introduce the Mayan calendar and how it affects our life and where we are in that, and also to bring in the discussion of moons, how the moon cycles over each of the seasons and each of the moons, how they influence us, and things that we should remember and consider. So, just getting there, she is. There she is. Yeah, I want to come up. I'll move over this way. Yeah, there we go. And so now we have Grandmama Renee joining us. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide it into three segments. We're going to do the Mayan calendar, then we're going to do the moons, and I'll finish off with the cycle of ceremonies because I think that's kind of like a logical order. And next week it's exciting for me because that starts the my Mayan calendar birthday. What do you call it, sequence. And so I'm all excited about that for next week. So if you wouldn't mind starting, Marcia, I think that would be great. And then we will, oh, don't forget to introduce yourself and a little bit of a background, and we'll just take it from there.
Hey, so Sago, everybody. My name is Marsha Forrest, and I'm joining you from Nanaimo, British Columbia today. Um, And I want to just say what an honor it is to share this ancient knowledge about the Mayan calendar. I've learned from some incredible teachers about this, and it's been almost 20 years now that I've been working with this calendar. So I want to acknowledge and thank Tata Apolinario Chili Pistun from Guatemala, a Mayan, and also my teacher, Tot Omiaheket, Eric Gonzalez, Maya, who lives both in California and in Guatemala. So this Mayan calendar, I know that many of you probably remember in 2012, there was all this big hype about the end of time, the end of the world. Everybody thought was coming, but really it was just an amazing cycle that was completing and moving onwards, because this calendar that the Maya use is called the Sacred Cholki, or you may have heard it called the Zolkin. And it's been going on for like thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And it is one of the oldest calendars known, and it continues to move forward. And so I'm going to just give you a really brief outline of how the calendar works, and then I'll go into what this present time is that we're in relationship to the calendar. So it's all about timekeeping wisdom, and they're called the day keepers, the ones who really track and take care of the Mayan calendar wisdom and knowledge. And what the calendar does, it helps to guide and influence the destiny, that we are living, not just for us as individuals, but for all of life. And so, with this timekeeping wisdom, it goes multidimensional. It's not just like looking at a clock and you see the hands on the clock moving around. It is also delving into the physical realms and the spiritual realms and the etheric realms, those that we cannot see. So it is used to help to guide times to hold ceremonies, because there's certain times when that would be better to hold different ceremonies, or to do healing work, or to do divinations, or just for ourselves in acknowledging, maybe some of the work that we are wanting to do as well to keep us healthy, that we can pick a better day, to do certain things. So it's a really nice guide that way, and it helps us to harmonize with our own natural biorhythm, but also harmonize ourselves with that of the energies of the universe. So it can influence destiny, but it's all about walking the road that you're walking, the pathway you're walking, in balance. So the code for the Mayan calendar, if you've not heard anything about it, um, there are 260 elemental and spiritual forces at play here. And so that's about a 9-month period, which is also the length of time, which is the gestation for, the time the egg gets fertilized and that fetus grows in the mother's womb. That's a 9-month period. And so that calendar is 260 days long. And everything has a frequency and a vibration. So how they count the days, there are actually 20 different day lords or spiritual forces. And it's just, they call it like the pulsations of divinity. And so with those, they work along with the 13 vibrations or the frequencies, which really is the manifestation of life. So it takes a full 260-day cycle for these 20 day lords and the 13 vibrations to, it's kind of like a cog in a wheel. They have to, connect, interact, and it takes 260 days for that whole cycle, so that every day Lord meets up with each of the 13 frequencies in that period of time. So when you were born, your very first breath, you inhaled the frequency of that day, and you also inhaled the essence of that day Lord or spiritual force, and that grounded you in your walk in this life, because it then tells you what your birth sign is, and from there can be figured out what your conception date is, what the male and female influences were for your tree of life, and also for your mission in this life. So, so there are, ways to figure that out, of course, and there are people who do this. A lot of the Mayan day keepers, the shamans, they work with this. They do divinations based on a person's tree of life, and so it's like getting a reading done. So this is something that influences your whole lifetime, and in order to understand where you're going, you have to understand where you've been. And so right now, and the days that we are walking through, we're kind of coming to the end of one of the what they call 13-day weeks. So that's the 13 vibrations that get carried from 1 to 13. So that's just short of 2 weeks' time. And we're in a cycle right now that's at a vibration of 11, which means this 13-day week ends in 2 days from now. So I'm just going to briefly tell you about it and then go into what's coming up for the next the calendar sequence so that you can know what's coming too. So right now, it started on December the 5th, Tuesday the 5th, we entered the cycle of 1 Imush that goes all the way through to 13 Ah. And this isn't we don't really have time to teach about what all the day lords are right now, but I will just highlight the ones that are significant as we're going through them. So Imush, it really begins, each of the 13-day weeks is led by one of the day lords with the number 1, and that kind of like sets the tone for that 13-day week. So right now with Imush, it really begins the story about a process of creation. And Imush is about our thoughts, our thought forms, the element of water. And so you think about what thought forms are floating in the water, and what do we want to crystallize and envision for the future. And that's what we're meant to put our intentions towards. Because at the end of this 13-day cycle on a Sunday, that's when that intention can be manifested. And what the manifestation here is about, really, they crystallize the full empowerment of the staff, or what it is that we stand for and what we represent in this universe. Because if you've had medicine wheel teachings, you know there's the 4 directions, the 4 cardinal points. There's also the above and below. And what's in the center of that is us. We are the center of that medicine wheel, and we are the staff. So it causes us to think about, how are we standing? How are we living our life? How are we walking our truth? And so on December 11th was the halfway point between this current 13-day week. And so that was on a day called Seven Kiek, and that was on Monday. And so on that day, the thought forms, whatever it is you're trying to envision, get crystallized. And it gets crystallized and activated by some kind of force or energy. And so that would be a good day to do ceremony, to really really move forward and really stand convicted in what it is that you're envisioning or crystallizing in this life. And then the next day, on Tuesday, this past Tuesday, was 8 Keneal. And on that day, the Maya All right, I think we're good now. So it's all about the seed, and it's about the 4 colors of the corn, and it's about how everything is included there. I don't know why I keep getting muted. Anyway, today we are in the sign of 11 bots. And today is about letting go of those things that may be holding you back, or things that you've been carrying along for a really long time that no longer serve you. It might be, it might be things you do. How do you spend your time? And is it for the greater good of yourself and for humanity? And it's also about tying up loose ends, because on Sunday is the day that's going to be the 13th. So again, it's like crystallizing the full empowerment of the staff, and of that staff that you carry, of that staff you represent, and of that staff you want to carry forward. Um, so it's a time that we decide what we're going to do, and we ground the intentions to fulfill that, whatever that is. And so that comes on the Sunday. So it's like this cycle of creation stories that happen every 13 days. So then the next cycle that starts is going to be, um, it's going to be on Monday, December the 18th. So it's the day after that one cycle ends, the next one begins. But the number one day lord in this cycle is Ish. And so with Ish, we're beginning the story of connecting to what is sacred, to what is sacred to us. We're getting connected to the altars, to the sacred sites, and to the medicines, because these are all very important. So it really causes us to ask what is sacred, to us. We really have to, get that clear so that our intention is clear. And the end of this 13-day week ends in the transformation of all things. So it's a very powerful time. So on 6 Kuwuk, which will be on next Saturday, it's going to be a chance to go through a purification or cleansing. And why is that a good day? Because Kuwuk is all about the rains. It's about the thunder and lightning, and it's any way you can purify, really, using water or steam is a good thing to do. Because on 7 Apu, on Sunday, the 24th, which is Christmas Eve, this is all about, you may have heard of the hero twins, their stories in the Pope Vuh, which is a very classic book about Mayan knowledge. I'll just show you what that is and how that is spelled. It really walks you through a lot of the stories. Oh, well, okay, well, I'm back. So this is about the Lords of the Light and the Hero Twins, because their story is important, because they had the courage and the wisdom and knowledge to go into the underworld and defeat the Lords of the Darkness. And they are tested in so many ways, and so they had to really figure out what was sacred in order to be able to accomplish this. They had to figure out who their allies were to help them through this. And then on the December 25th, Ada Mush, Christmas Day, this is the day when the mind is very clear on what are we going to go forward with. So by now, our mind is crystallized clearly for us what it is that's important to us, what are we envisioning, what are our prayers. And then on 9 Ek, which will be on Tuesday, Boxing Day, it's also the full moon. On that day is the day with the potential to have a beautiful spiritual birth, with that breath of life and the divine light of that full moon. So it brings us through this whole beautiful story to the end on 13 Kamei, Saturday, December the 30th, which is also very close to the end of the year. It's a good day to really be clear on what is going to die or what is I going to transform on 13 Kame, so that I can leave that behind now and I can move forward clearly with what it is that my purpose is in this world, to make that better difference. And so on 13 Kame, you have that opportunity to have a choice of going down one of two roads. And it can be a good transformation into that beautiful crystal butterfly, who's very clear and sure of where they're going. Or it can be also lead to the potential of the total death of the soul. So there's always those choices we make that, come forward to us as we walk this world. So um, that's covering already like 26 days that we've covered. And so the next time we get together, I'll be able to bring this story forward into what we're walking through. But the energies really are very powerful right now, and they've been building. I mean, we've been saying this now for a couple of years. And so this is all designed to help us to understand what is going on and how it is that we can hold strong and true to who we are. And so that's all about us really understanding that. And so what I'll make sure I do when this gets posted is I will put into the chat, I will put a connection to the site called the Mayan Calendar energy forecast, which comes out and gets posted every 13 days for that next cycle. So that, if you're that interested, you can follow that and learn more about it. And we'll just be delving into this. It's a very, I know I've studying that all these years. I think you can study the calendar for a lifetime and still not understand it all. That's for sure, because I'm still learning. So thank you for hearing my words, and I look forward to the next time we get a chance to share this wisdom again. Now we'll go.
Always amazing, Cuzzy. Um, you know, and like you said, we never ever get the full essence. It's kind of like, in ceremony, you go once and then every time you go, there adds something or you learn something or something clicks in. So that's the beauty of our life. It's always changing. So thank you for that beautiful introduction to the Mayan calendar, because I know how powerful it is, and it certainly does. It certainly can help you create your life. So now we're going to talk a bit about the moons, and we don't we see the moon every night, depending on where you live, and we don't really understand the full connection that we have. And so here's Renee to talk a little bit about um, the moons, and this fabulous woman here has put together some really beautiful information so that it's easy for people to learn and to grow and to be connected. So Renee.
Diego, hello everyone. What an honor to be sharing the knowledge of the sky and the universe. And it's not surprising that we're going to hear more. It's time. It's we have been going through a time of awakening, and that is our hearts are opening up and our water is starting to speak to us. And we come from the land that is very connected to the sky world. And that sky world talks about our journey here to Earth. And that first woman, her name was Mature Flower. And because of her, she had, I always like to start at her being the young woman, young girl, and all of trials and tribulations she had to go through. And that's very important because she learned many lessons of life so that she could help us. And that's what a grandma is all about. And a grandmother is always, as they say, closer than we think in our hearts and in the universe. And I like to say right now that more people are going to learn about her because of colonization. They didn't believe in that feminine energy. And so what they did was they hushed, they taboo. It was not, that's only for women. And they put limited on us knowing or celebrating that relationship with the moon. And from that being labeled, we were given names that took away at the power. And today we hear that often. Oh, you don't do that. That's evil. That's a nighttime. But that nighttime was given to us for our bodies to rejuvenate. And who else would know how to take care of us was our grandmother. She would make sure that everything that our minds were clear, our hearts were clear, our spirit was good, and our bodies was healing. So we come from that understanding that the water, and I always love that essence of water. Water. It plays a very important in our life, and so that water is a gift. And I always like to say that the water is a language that we have forgotten. Look how much it is polluted today, because the language that we hear is always of negativity. No wonder our water is polluted. No wonder we have forgotten how to speak to our waters and with kindness and goodness, because that's the first drop of life. Water is that life. And so while she was here, she talked, as they say, when she came here, she was to bring forth that water. And as you know, when we are to be born, that water breaks. And when you look up into the sky and you see that black hole, well, I have been told that this is where we come from, the water breaking, and that's how we come here to this land. And it's so beautiful because what the water, you hear the metaphors. This is how we understand about life. And it says that she fell from sky. So there it is, that birthing canal. And she came. What was she in? Water. In our creation story, it was telling water. Doesn't our water break when we give birth? It's so beautiful. And then we're always surrounded in water. This water was our protection. And so in this form of being taken care of in the womb, we were surrounded by water, and we heard the vibration of creation around us. And the words, we knew the people before we even came on this earth plane. We would hear their voice. And this is why in our teaching we are told that you introduce yourself to that baby, like the male component, the father, the uncles, their brothers. And I had that experience myself because when I was with my first child, my uncle, my mother's brother, came and he put his hand on my stomach. He said, "Hello in there." He says, "I'm your uncle." And you know what? That bond between them was very strong. My uncle, he took my kids as he had so much love for them. And that was a powerful thing. And I'm so grateful that he introduced himself at that time. And because of that, I have often spoke. I have seen my babies, they come before they even here on earth. I see them coming on that journey from the sky world. I have been there. I have seen them, and they have, as they say, they have made that journey. But they greeted themselves first before they came here. And that's the honor of being a grandma, a woman, because there are many gifts of doing that, of being a woman. And that's what that sky woman taught us. that we can always see into the future. And every one of us has that gift. But when we're filled with hurt and pain and anger and grief, we cut or we take away our power and put it aside. And so it's now time that we use that water that is inside us. And that's what when in first part of creation, it talks about how it was explained to me there was water upon her face. And that was because she had to deal with grief. There is so much of understanding life from that moment of water. Water is the essence of breath. We cannot breathe without water. We cannot talk without water. We cannot think without water. And so this water is a gift, a sacred gift. But how are you treating your water? How are you treating your water? Are you putting labels on yourself? You know what? You disrupt your water. Please stop doing that. This is what the grandmother have said. Grandmother Moon, she looks down and she's talking to each and every one of you. She's talking to you. So when you go out there, whenever you're having troubles or problems, go out there and speak to her. Let that off your chest. This is the things that we have forgotten. Instead of keeping it a secret, keeping your pain inside. The grandmother, she talks to us all the time and she tells us how to be a good human being. And that is because to be a good human being, you must use a gift of tears, because you always have to be renewing yourself. It is a sacred gift of renewing. And as Gail had called me the Queen of Tears, I truly am. I can cry at the drop of a hat. I can cry for everyone that is out there because they do not cry. Because as a grandmother, I can feel your water is already speaking to my water. And I'm feeling from many of you that there is much heaviness. And it's not, as they say, it's not a burden. And when your water, it's a water that is meant to go through your body and to clean you. That is logic. Always think logic. Why did the Creator put water in me? Why is the water so important? Always think of logic. And if I stop the tears, I'm going to have health problems. And there are 13 points in our bodies that tell us if you have closed off right here in your throat, many of you have this almost like your own hand around your throat because you have stopped crying. You have stopped crying, and as a result, you're suppressing and you're pushing down. And so your body is going to feel that in many spots. Your body is going to feel pain because you haven't released that. And so now I want you to count this. So the first one is your neck. The next one is your shoulder. So you go 1, 2, 3. Those are your shoulders. And then you go to your elbows, 4, 5, to your wrists, 6, 7, and now to your hips, 8, 9, now to your knees, 10, 11, and now to your ankles, 12, 13. Wow. Grandmother Moon, she had that teachings from the sky when she came, and she taught us that if we don't release that heaviness in us, we're going to cause health problems. So how many of you have problems in your throat? How many of you have problems in your shoulders? How many of you have problems in your elbows and in your wrist? How many of you have problems in your hips? How many of you have problems with your knees? How many of you have problems with your ankle? I want you to think logic. What am I doing to myself? And that's what Grandmother Moon has been sharing. She says, tell them to stop abusing themselves. Tell them I have given them a gift, and that is the gift of water. And so you look at the moon. She is always comforting us. She's always looking after us. And this is why we even put our water out there to help in the healing of our spirit, our hearts, our minds, and our bodies. So the ceremony is every day. How do you treat your water? That is you. You are in ceremony every day. You know, when you wash your face, you are ceremony. You're acknowledging, you're honoring. And so when you look at that, you give thanks to that water that touches you. And then you brush your hair. And then every part that grandma taught you how to groom yourself was to restore yourself, because we are born to be well and healthy and to have peace. And so it's time that the feminine part of our grandmother be heard, because all the teachings of the grandmother moon has been suppressed because man wanted to take away the power. And the power that was meant to be for all mankind was of kindness and goodness. But jealousy slipped in. And that is the saddest thing. Be careful of jealousy. You know, the grandmother said too that you have two options, and that's why we have this teaching of the duality in us, the twin in us. And our creation story goes back to twin. And so you have, in our way, we call them the left and the right-handed. But to me, as a grandmother, I know them as the left, as the, you know, you're going to have a child or yourself. One moment you're patient, and the next minute you're impatient. So what are you? Are you impatient? You want things right away? And because of that story, how that one was impatient had caused the death of his mother, the grandmothers have shared that story. And my grandmother shared that story. She says, be careful when you're impatient. She says, there are severe consequences and it will cause much grief, just like it did in creation. And so I always look at it today because people have closed off, number one, they have closed off that ability to let themselves cry. And so as a result, this twin is taking over, and it has you worrying, fretting, having anxiety, having panic attacks because it wants. And here is the heart, the one that's patient. So we have to, we've been doing ceremonies to open up that heart and that mind. And that's what we went and did. We went to the headwaters of Mississippi with our people. We did ceremonies for the water. We have been doing ceremonies for the water for the people. And today we also have done ceremonies for the people because you see, we have that ability to change. And since 2012, that new fire has come. So those are our medicine, fire and water. And so you have gotten the Mayan teaching. I always like that. I always think of the fire that comes, and you always hear about, because where it is in the south, it represents that fire. And then here we are of the north, we are represented by the water. And so this is the lungs. Our lakes are known as the lungs of Turtle Island. And so we come together to bring a teaching how to restore life again. And so I turn it over to Gail.
Oh my goodness. You know, when I think about all the conversations that we have and that we share and that we uh, have, thought to really take deep into your heart and to like apply, it's always beautiful to know that we are part of something so beautiful and so wonderful, and that is creation. And so, my little chit chat, I'd like to add the cycle of ceremonies according to us, the Haudenosaunee, here in the Northeast. So, right now we're at Six Nations of the Grand River Territory, um, in Ashwegan at my Ancestral Voices Healing Center right here. And I'm I'm saying that because I really love that the ability to share and to teach and to just listen and to learn is possible, and everybody can have the opportunity to do that. And my cousin Marcia, way over in the West, at times it was like uh, we were sisters. Well, we certainly, I think we're more sisters than we are cousins in a way. And I would see her, and she was living far away. Then I saw some of my own relatives here, and it's because the cycles of ceremonies and change. We're in the company of the ability to like really go deep within ourselves, and just talking about some of those ceremonies. Sometimes that just amazes me still to think of some of those ceremonies that we have been through. So, in our cycle of ceremonies, we honor the cycle of uh, sharing. So, it's kind of like the cycle, the life cycle. Um, and every year it shifts and it changes a little bit. And every year we have the ability to make change and to be change. So, where we are right now, so in our cycle of ceremonies, they're done throughout our longhouses on a regular basis. And so, here at Six Nations, we have five longhouses, and the ceremonies continue and the ceremonies continue. And if we're traveling into, the territory of one of our sister nations, well, then we can always join in and be part of that cycle of ceremonies, no matter where we are. So our cycle of ceremonies that we're in right now is Creator. It's that cycle of Creator and Creator's love. And it's our time to stop and to take reflection of where are we going, who are we, and what is the duty and responsibility that I have. So when I look at and I say so this is just a little personal because not everybody thinks the same way I do, but when I look at everything that um, we have in front of us to share about creation, it's overwhelming in a way that can bring tears and it can bring such joy and bliss. And then life happens, and then we're just the opposite. And then we're back to joy and bliss. And then we're being challenged. And those challenges just keep making us realize that life is all about that give and take, and about that balance, and about those challenges to keep us, I would like to say, strong, but they keep us on our toes. I guess that might be a better way. So if we're in the cycle of creation, that means that when we close our eyes, we can see the stars. When we look in the sky, we can see the stars. During the day, we can look and we can feel the energy of the sun. We can feel the energy of the moon. We can feel the energy of the wind and the air. And the beautiful thing is, we're part of it all. Um, we have that opportunity in our lives to be part of everything. We can create that fire. We can be that fire. And as we move forward and as we put ourselves to a place where the challenges come, we simply have to take a minute, breathe, and look up. And that's something that we forget to do. So I like the energy of the stars, because the stars are so powerful. I mean, sometimes you look at the sky and there's just one star, that, out of all the millions of stars in the sky, there's just one star that really captures your attention. And you can kind of have a conversation. You can, like, um, just be with that energy, and you can feel something coming from that place. And it looks like it's so far away, but in reality it's just a heartbeat away. It's just a pulse away. um, and when we think of creation or creator, um, I don't know when the time came when we felt that we were separate from Creator, because we're all part of the creation. We all have a responsibility and a duty to, take on that challenge of creating. So we create the beauty, by going through our hardest challenges. When we get through that hard challenge and there's a light at the other end of the tunnel, why, that's when we share that beauty. And even though we're sometimes in that deep darkness of despair, there are there's something powerful about that. It's like, okay, I've got to change my thought. I've got to change something about how I'm walking, what I'm doing, and you've got to create that beauty. So we all have the duties and responsibilities of being a creator, and I don't know. I have so many stories, that I could share. Time is short, but I know that when we move forward in a positive light, in a positive way, then we are aligning ourselves with Creator's light and Creator's love, and that warms us. So when you look up at the sun and that beautiful spring, fall, summer, winter day, there's something about that energy that you can just feel. Like it's like the sun saying, "Don't fret, I'm here. Don't worry, I'm here. Um, we're in this together. We're in this together. So what you need, I can provide, and what I need, you can provide." And so that's what it is with all of the elements. And just recently, we were lucky enough to be at the beautiful ocean, in Oahu. Oh my gosh. And it seems that every time we go on these spiritual journeys, there's something happens just after. So we're up in Waimea Bay in Oahu, and um, it was an interesting time because the waves were stronger than they usually are for that time of year. And so it wasn't the time for sun tanning and beach because the water was showing her power, his power, her power, its power. And it was letting us know that pay attention, be aware, tune in. And so I use that as an opportunity to show some of the people that came with us how to use that energy of that power of that water to heal. And shortly after we left, so we the next week, there was the biggest, and it's all over the internet, the great big waves, the great big surf, and that happened, just shortly after we were be there, and it was unexpected, and so that's the power. We are there. We offer our prayers. We offer our feelings. We offer and we ask for cleansing. And it's interesting that the water is so powerful that right then and there it just helps us with whatever it is that we're going through. And then we have the wind, you know, as it's the wind that helps to make that power happen, and you see and you hear and you feel that wind, and it's got a voice and it talks to you. All of these things, we represent it all. We have that voice. We talk like the wind talks. We have that fire within. We know that we can use that fire to put out whatever it is. We're made of water. So, like, we have everything that we need, and we're part of what you see around us, all of creation. And so, we take this time to acknowledge creation, and also to recognize that we are an important part of that creation, or we wouldn't be here at this time. So, sometimes the teachings are harsh, like I mentioned, harsh and powerful, but sometimes they're so beautiful and powerful. So we just have to choose where we want to be within that cycle. And we have to be able to lift and to do those things that we ask Creator. So I never understood, that why, how people can ask for something, and when it doesn't happen, then Creator gets blamed. It's like
Yeah.
it's like what kind of I don't understand the mentality, basically, because it's like it's our actions, it's our thoughts, it's our deeds, it's what we put out there that aligns with what we bring in, and there's no one to blame or no one to get mad at,
Yeah.
except ourselves. And so once we start to have pride in ourselves, once we start to pull up ourselves, once we start to see that alignment that happens, and just quickly, there was one really important vision that I had, and it happened on a beautiful mesa because I love the Southwest. And as I was on that mesa, there was this being that came, and this being had um, green eyes, but when I looked closer, it was crystal, and her form was that of a crystal. And she came into the essence of a grandmother. And then the next thing you know, I was that essence, and I'm going, what? How did that happen? What does this mean? And so this is something that happened like years and years ago, and sometimes we have to really take time to like think about those experiences. And what does that mean? It means as crystal, we have the ability to change. As crystal, we have the ability to challenge. We have the ability to make those connections with the stars and all that energetic, etherical uh, uh, creation that is out there. And so when I think of the cycle we're in being that of acknowledging Creator, every day is an important day for us to be here, and the essence of that Thanksgiving address that we use to create that cycle of ceremonies. It's also important to who we are and where we're going. So we have a lot of moons to talk about, are a lot of information to share as we continue this journey. So we're going to do this on a monthly basis, and so when we come back, it'll be the new cycle in the Mayan calendar. It'll be the new cycle of the moon, and it will be the new cycle of our cycle of ceremonies and what that brings. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone for coming and sharing tonight and or being with us to help share. And always remember that this information is for you to share, because the more people that start to share, the stronger we become. So let's share that love, let's share that light, and let's be that light. So, hi, Jody, you're back.
Oh my gosh, I know you guys know me. I'm in the background wanting to jump in at every second. It's a good thing that I'm not on the screen because I can't control my excitement. And a lot of times when you're speaking in a way that I know it has nourished my spirit and my soul, like you ladies have taught us so much. And I feel like when I listen to you, you bring me into this space of dreamland, dream time. Like, just can we live this way? Can we really be this? Can we really walk this way? And I'm grateful because I do the best that I can every day to I guess embody what you share. And that's your what you do. You ladies are amazing. You give me hope when you share your visions and dreams, Gail. It makes me feel like the dreams and visions I have, are can be real. Like that they are relevant and they add joy. And that's what we're supposed to be here for. Is joy, is to create this, right? I know. Hey, you're my teachers. Am I saying it right? So I love
I'm
you. I
saying,
love
go
you.
Jody, go Jody.
No, stop chiming in. Renee, nudge her for me. I'm just listening. That's
Yeah.
all I'm doing. I'm listening and I'm just doing. And I appreciate, like, there's so many messages here. I don't know, before we go, I can pop some up. If you don't mind just taking a minute just to show you the people that have, popped on here to watch you. If I share any of this during your talk, you know that we'd never get your talk done. I'm just saying, right? So these are some amazing
uh,
people,
yeah.
that are, thinking outside of, where we were and how we've been, kind of raised and brought up in this world. Kevin, you're awesome. you are a guy that is explosive with, just sharing and wanting to make a better world. So I appreciate you and thank you for showing up here tonight for us. Lots of hearts and loves and, people saying that, but I think that it's just the right time. Um, oh, look at that down under.
Yeah, there's Karen. Yeah.
It. So yeah, it's so important. Oh, these are just messages for me because I didn't want to pop up and interrupt you.
Uh, that's a
Uh,
good thing you waited till later because otherwise I'd be going, what?
I know,
Yeah, distraction.
Yeah.
right? And that's why,
Uh,
right? We know that there are people watching and listening and just know that it's, they'll watch and listen in the future, which is so good about, why we do what we do. Oh, sorry, I didn't give enough time for this one from Susan. She shared some great knowledge about the air that we breathe in and
Yeah.
yeah, this is, we're just in a beautiful time to be able to share platforms and, space where we can join from so many different places. And I'm just grateful that people continue to show up and, we're just doing it because these ladies feel called. Do you want to say something, Renee?
yes.
No, I'm just so grateful that we have this opportunity to share the knowledge that has been so long suppressed.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's a time of reuniting, of brotherhood and sisterhood. And that
Mhm.
is going to go out the great message to bring us all together.
Yeah.
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 And what's
And
amazing to me too is how much, even though there are different aspects of this time of year, how much they intertwined and overlapped and supported. Because when Renee was talking about the 13 major, joints in our body, that's the 13 frequencies right there. Like our bodies carry those within us all the time. So
Yeah.
just remember that.
awesome.
Yeah.
See?
Wow.
See? How did we know that people had nothing to do on a Friday night?
Exactly.
Are we the only ones? So
Yeah.
awesome. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. Just watch our Facebook page. There's always, a lot of neat things happening in our communities. These women are very busy
That's not showing.
serving
Yeah.
people and just taking care of the people. So, over the next few weeks, as you continue to, as we continue to just kind of, follow our society, it's the holiday season. So I hope that every one of you, gets to spend time in connecting with your family and being outside in this beautiful. Okay, look at all these people keep commenting. I love it. But yeah, just be sure to take care of yourself, and be with your family and be with those. Do whatever you can to pay attention and look for those people that maybe are alone and think of those people that could use a little more love or support. I know that that's what these women have shown me to do. So oh, look at this. This keeps coming. Oh, Marcia, look at that. Your hair looks so good. What about mine?
Well, Marcia's
I
frozen,
dressed,
I think.
I
She's
dressed
frozen in time.
There she smiled.
Yeah, there.
amazing.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Tammy, safe travels, right? You're right. Until we meet again. Nyawa to everyone. And thank you, grandmas, for sharing so much of yourself and your love and your experiences in life. So
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
see you
Tune
all
in
soon.
next month, and who knows what you're going to hear then.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.